You are in for such a treat today. So, I have decided on my podcast that I am going to start doing some interviews. And of course, the people that I'm pulling from are other women like myself that are entrepreneurs, that are trying to empower women in our little corner of the universe in a multitude of different ways. So, you guys, sky's the limit. The people I'm interviewing, it's really been amazing to listen to their stories and to hear their philosophies when they sell products, when they do other services that are way divergent from what I do here in coaching and being a clinical psychologist. And yet we're all on kind of the same page, people. So that's what I have found when I've been meeting these individuals and different things that I've been doing during my career. And I really just wanted to bring that to you. You're listening to Straight from the Psychologist's Mouth, a podcast that teaches women in midlife to unapologetically stop silencing their dreams and start designing the lives they want to live in. I'm your host, Dr. Natalie, and as a clinical psychologist of the last 2 decades and a twice-divorced single mother myself, I not only know how hard it can feel heading into midlife, I am living it right here with you. I have taken all the many failed attempts and lessons learned in my own life and combine it with my extensive clinical experience to give you the tools you need to make midlife the best time in your life. No joke. So let's get started. So today will not disappoint. We are going to be meeting Susana Campella. Susana is the founder and CEO of Glute Boost, a health and beauty company that provides non-invasive solutions for women's curve enhancement needs. Love this. She has extensive experience working with customers and employees from diverse industries and backgrounds. Susana has been an entrepreneur for over a decade now and is passionate about growth, market analysis, consumer behavior, creative content, and being able to offer people solutions to their needs. She has now found an impelling desire to develop a company offering excellent products and a community of like-minded individuals willing to be inspired to a healthy, curve-enhancing journey. So let's welcome Susana.
Natalie, thank you so much for this space. I'm
Yes.
truly excited. This is really my first time doing like a video interview. Everything I've done has been written, in written
Okay.
interviews. But first time, face to face. So I'm a little nervous. But,
No need to be nervous. Let's get started. And
alrighty.
my website is called Learn to Love Your Story. And so I always want to start with just tell me your story. Why don't you just give us, an idea of who Susana is and, how did you get to where you are today?
So how did I get to where I am today? I would say iterating. So trying over and over again. To be very honest with you, I got to where I am today by doubting myself a lot. But I believe being daring and bold enough to iterate my way to success. Another big factor for me has been highly, highly optimistic. I can also tell you that I am where I am today. The CEO of a company is in a brand new niche in the body care and beauty industry by being extremely curious. It's a curiosity that pushes you to want to learn more, to investigate more. And I strongly believe that leads you to amazing opportunities.
I really love that curiosity piece. And here's why. The programs that I do, the online programs, but also the coaching programs, the first element that I teach women is this concept I call compassionate self-awareness. So it's having that self-compassion or kindness and understanding towards yourself as you look at the things that you might not like about your life in order
Right.
to take a hard look at, so why am I still doing that and how do I change that? And curiosity is one of the ways that I teach it, because it's built into that, right? It's not judgmental to stay curious. Staying
Exactly.
curious just keeps us open to all the opportunities that could be right in front of us. So I love how you tie that into, how you've gotten successful and just by staying curious.
Yes.
Where did you learn that? Just if you wouldn't mind saying a little bit about that, where did you learn that from?
So I have an academic background in biology. My bachelor's is in biology with a concentration in molecular biology. So the scientific method was my bread and butter. Every day you had to master this methodology of how to do life. I mean, you read about it so much that it got to a point where I was actually employing everything the scientific method teaches you to do with everything in my life. So the number one factor in any academics in science, I would say, it's curiosity. You have to be curious to be able to learn and find more knowledge toward that's keeping you awake every night, and you just want to learn about. So that's really how I understood curiosity, pretty much.
Yeah, yeah, that makes total sense to me. I mean, I'm a social scientist, and you're, physical science in molecular biology, but the scientific method is definitely built into both of those. And definitely, I can see how you came to that curious posture because of that, for sure. But it seems like it's done well for you, right? It's
Yes.
served you well in your success. Let me go to this next question. So what inspired you to just start helping women in particular, and maybe even more so women in midlife, to empower themselves?
When we developed the core value of the company, which was about 3 years ago, we really embarked on a mission to give back to women. So regardless of your age, these principles, I believe, are beneficial to all women. And my inspiration has truly been this deep desire to be able to transform other women's lives to something better than your yesterday. So
I love that.
it might sound simple. I don't know if it might sound simple, but it's a goal a lot of women find very difficult to reach. Many find it difficult to get motivated enough to be able to start something new or different, let alone stay inspired. Like that alone, it's hard to do at times. So my motivation has been this passion for being part of someone else's transformation. And we do this by providing advice, motivational and inspiring messages along with our product.
That is very much in alignment with how I approach this too. I love that, better tomorrow kind of an idea, to help people. Again, goes back to that compassionate self-awareness. I mean, we can know why we got ourselves into today, but what we want to be invested in is making choices that serve us best and get us into the tomorrow that we want for ourselves, to design that life or to work towards that life, for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So what is it? Just a little follow-up question, wasn't in the original questions, but what do you think that says about you, that's the kind of entrepreneur you are, that it's a service-oriented philosophy for you?
Yes. So this is actually something that I found at one point in my life. I found very difficult to be able to master this whole idea of do something different today so that your tomorrow can be better. So I can tell you, when I married my husband, when we got married, things started to change a little, because he's actually very goal oriented and he's really good at doing the step-by-step process. So I was able to adopt that whole mentality of, all right, this is my goal. But how do I motivate myself to start? The starting process for me was always very, very, very difficult. But it got to a point where that desire and that passion to change that tomorrow that allowed me to, start the bike, the pedal, like I say,
Yep.
So that's how it's been for me.
That's awesome. I love that. So I'm getting the impression of you that your personal life and professional life are much more integrated. Like who you show up on as in, business is who you show up as at home and everywhere else, that you're just authentically who you are.
Definitely. And this is something that I think I came up with, because I tell my husband this whole idea of life and work balance that you hear all the time, like, it just doesn't make sense to me. Why don't people think more about life work integration? And it's even better when you're able to work with your spouse. Like, why don't you just integrate? I mean, if you're so passionate about what you're doing, find ways to integrate and enjoy that journey, that journey. So, and if it's two of you working on the same goal, and not necessarily like the same job or the same company, but both of you are enjoying each other's roles in whatever job that you're doing, if you're both helping and motivating each other, just life becomes so much easier.
So much. Yeah, I'm with you 100%, 100%. I like that integration. That's a great way to phrase it. Like instead of trying to find balance and keep each in its own bubble, which is hard, to be honest. I mean, for anybody, just to find ways to make them blend or complement one another a little bit better. I think definitely it's actually an easier goal in a lot of ways.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. All right, let's go to the next one. So the next question I have are, what are some common challenges that you are helping women with?
So I call this this fictitious inability to progress. So in other words, we say, this is who I am, this is where I'm at, and that's it for me. So we convince ourselves that that's how it should be, when in reality, that's not real. That's not how it should be. So we tend to be afraid, or maybe we just don't know how to bring about change. And change is good. If that change is going to lead to something positive, I usually say turn it into a routine and stick to it on a daily basis. One of the things we advocate a lot is to take care of your body. And that by doing so, you're going to create this ripple effect. So, but really, it all starts by taking care of yourself first. So do you want to, for example, do you want to lose weight? Do you want to gain weight? Like, what do you need to work on your body that will make you feel great in your own skin? Is it a muffin top? Is it leaner legs? Whatever that may look like, just do it. So what we usually do is we tell our audience that you have to start small. So do something small today. Focus on that something, on that whatever small it is that you chose to change, and that'll get you going. And then you'll be able to turn it into a routine. And I think that when we're able to do that, that's your win. That's your win. And yes, and you'll be surprised how that brings this amazing ripple effect with everything else that you do.
Yeah. There's so many pieces in there that I would love to unpack. And the one that's sticking out for me is that idea of investing in ourselves. It has this impact on us and everybody around us, because it's going to have an impact on whatever we bring to the world, right? For women, a lot of times that has a lot to do with service, and it has a lot to do with caretaking. I mean, that's just kind of, we've got our hands in those pots. We're in those kinds of careers. It's not just, having a personal family caretaking, but the way women show up in the world definitely is more in that power with and power to instead of power over. Even the entrepreneurs that I've met are like that. So that idea of taking care of you first is so huge, because if you don't take care of the vessel, like you're looking more at the body being that vessel. I'm looking more holistically in the coaching that I do, but it really is the same message. If you don't take care of this, then it's how do you impact anything else? And giving yourself the gift of habit that's a huge benefit, because it only does take little bits each day of moving towards something that you're trying to change or trying to grow into. Yeah. So what's been your experience trying to move women? Because how you started that was that, there's this concept of women that saying, this is just who I am, this is how I've always been. Definitely something that I run into in coaching as well. How have you approached that specifically? Like, how do you try and break that fixed mindset and move it into more of a growth mindset for women?
I believe that it is a constant believing in yourself and that you are capable. But really, there's just something powerful that happens in our lives when we care for our bodies first. There's just something about feeling great in those jeans and then feeling great in that blouse that just changes your look on life. So I'm a huge believer in believing in yourself, know that you're capable, and take care of your body. And that's gonna, take you out of that bubble, break that bondage of here I am, this is who I am, and there's nothing else for me. But really, it really starts there, your mentality, and then your body next.
Yeah. Mentality is so big in any kind of change process. So yeah, with the body as well, for sure. Okay. I was just curious about that, because that's definitely our client base is very similar that way. They kind of come in with, well, this is how it's always been, and I don't see a way out of this. This is just who I've always been. So I think it's always good to pick up tips from other and from other industries. So get, like me in coaching and you in product that are body based. I think that it's funny because mindset is important in both. And there are some commonalities to how we would show up for our clients in that way, even though we're doing very different things, right?
Exactly.
All right, let's go to this next one. So how can women begin to cultivate a stronger sense of self-worth and self-confidence, do you think?
It really boils down to, it's like a war that you have inside of you. It has to start there. It has to be an element in your thinking where your conviction of believing in yourself and knowing that you're capable, it's way bigger than your fears. Sometimes our fears are way too big and our conviction is way too small, and we do not move forward, and we are not going to be able to build any sense of stronger self at all. There are many ways, and I think you are an amazing contact to be able to master this mentality where your conviction for your self-worth is actually bigger than your fears.
Hard to do. That takes a lot of effort. Dr. Brene Brown talks about how vulnerability is kind of the starting point of fear and how we feel in that realm, but it's also the starting point of things like what you're talking about, like just believing in yourself and having your conviction be stronger than that fear is, because you have to take a risk in some way, right? You have to be courageous enough to believe I'm bigger than what my fears about me really are. Exactly. That's hard to do. Yeah. I love that. So tell me a little bit about how your products, how your business helps women embrace their unique strengths and use them to achieve their goals and create a fulfilling life.
So I'm actually very vocal about this, and it is that Glute Boost is not only about the products and the results they cause, but also about effecting change in women's everyday lives. So it's really by understanding that in order for you to embrace your unique goals, you have to understand you have unique goals But we get discouraged when we compare ourselves to others, when we compare our goals to others. But in reality, what you need to do is just focus on that one goal that you want to accomplish, and you just break it down into tiny little steps, and then your focus is on that one small step. I believe that the sense of accomplishment and empowerment will bring you to the conclusion that you have the strength to do it, and it's going to reverberate to other things in your life. You'll find more power to control your life a lot more, regardless of your age. One amazing example of accomplishment was this guy, Ray Kroc. I don't know if you've heard his story.
No.
About how McDonald's, the burger chain, became such a global empire. And he was in his 50s when he took on the challenge to take McDonald's to a global empire. I mean, talk about who cares about your age. It's really all about, all right, what am I willing to do today so that I can get closer to my goal tomorrow? Sometimes we put a lot of strain on ourselves, and we think, what can I do today so that I can reach my goal tomorrow? You might not reach your goal tomorrow, but you're getting closer to your goal. And that has to be your biggest drive to continue on.
Oh, that's so great. I didn't know that he was 55 when he took McDonald's to the global. It's huge. I mean, I think every small town has a church and a gas station and a McDonald's, mostly in America. I have no idea all across the world, but so that's really cool. And then, age just becomes a number. Do you have examples of like success stories within your own business? Anybody, taking that approach of just doing one thing and breaking it down into those stepwise processes, anything that stands out for you?
Yeah, actually, I believe is how we do business, and with the products that we offer our audience, we help our customers with the everyday change we need in order to see results and reach your goals. So in our example, and I can give you one specific example, if I want, let's say, sexier legs, I know that I have to take my supplements that through their phytoestrogenic abilities, it allows me to reach those goals. So I take it on a day-to-day basis. And then we have this amazing lotion that you can apply on your legs, and you do that on a daily basis. So here you have a cream, and here you have supplements that you add to your day-to-day routine, and it just kickstarts you to a new routine, a new mentality, a new thing to do. That, okay, now I'm taking my supplements, I'm using my cream. Let me do some focused exercises to boost my results even more. So I have no idea what to do, I'm taking my supplements, I'm using my cream, and I'm doing some focused exercises. And the tiny results that you see, it's what makes you feel so empowered. Like, well, first of all, the products work, and they work amazing. But once you start seeing your results, that's your biggest motivation, is the change that actually you did that day before, or whenever you started and you started seeing results. So that's what we're really all about, is where we can provide these products and people can start a routine, start a new day, and be able to see results along the way. And that alone is what's going to give you that empowerment that we all need.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. That's really beautiful. I was just curious if you had on, like, within your own business model, and that definitely I can see how your products are going to spur people, to continue taking care of themselves, because they see that result and they're invested in seeing that some more. And then, then they're invested themselves, right? So by extension, they start to do that kind of self-care and be invested in them. Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Like it's
Exactly.
important to take that time to do the supplements, and it's important to take that time to apply the product. And to feel, it's important even to take that time to reflect and look at how that's helped me so far.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And if you think about
Beautiful.
it, oh, yeah, go ahead.
No, go for it.
And if you think about it, it's really a mind to body connection.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot attempt to accomplish some sort of change in your body if your mindset is not aligning with it. So
Yeah.
they both go hand in hand. You cannot just play around with your thoughts, but not be a doer.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a beautiful combination that
Totally.
stays connected if you really want to see results.
Very much so. I actually dedicate a whole lesson in the self-care module on my online courses to the idea of your body is your greatest asset in
Exactly.
self-care. And if you dial into what your body needs are and you take care of your body, the dividends they're just huge, right? Because when you feel better, you have more energy, motivation, you want to be more involved in your life, and you're likely to take more of those risks and more of those efforts to um, you know believe that you're a bigger deal than your fears are, as you said before. Like really invest in, like, okay, I believe this now. I feel empowered. I've seen the results. I've watched when I dial into my body how that pays off in the end. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Yes. And I think I have sometimes my very practical husband doesn't like it, but I tend to be very formulaic with everything that I do. He's very practical. So even this, I see it as a formula. You have A plus B equals AB. And then what we want to see is a different result, that we don't want to change our formula. We want to keep it because it's
Ah,
comfy. It's comfy. We
yeah,
want to keep it, but it's simple. You have to bring that external element to the formula so that you can see a result.
yeah,
So what can you add? It's very difficult to delete something from your formula to add something new. I believe that's way more difficult. But if you can
yeah.
add something to that formula, you're definitely going to get a different result. And hopefully it's a good one.
Yeah, that's a really good point, though. Like people want to do the same things but get a different result.
Exactly.
That's no news. We all, like, that's the definition of crazy, is to keep banging your head against the same wall thinking, hey, something's going to change here. But I like that you're right. Like taking something out is actually much more effortful than just keeping things as they are, but just adding something small, just something,
Exactly.
different. And, as a scientist, you totally appreciate, like, a very small variable can create a very different
Mm,
outcome. It
exactly.
doesn't take much, and it really transforms the whole thing.
Exactly. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Love it. Love it. All right. So what advice would you give to women who feel like they're stuck and not sure where they want to start or where to start when it comes to building a life that they love?
I always tell everyone, just add a new routine, add something new to your life, whatever it is. Just make sure it's something small but challenging at the same time, and something you can do on a daily basis. So
Mm-hmm.
that's actually something I posted on my LinkedIn not long ago, where exactly like that. If you're feeling stuck, add a routine, something new.
Yeah.
Maybe you never
Yeah.
do your bed in the morning, start making your bed in the morning. And you'll
Mm-hmm.
see how that's just somehow that new routine that you're able to master on a daily basis. It just changes your outlook on life.
Yeah. I did a series in March on the podcast that looked at, 5 of these major areas that women struggle with in midlife. And one of the quotes that I used was from Amy Porterfield. And she says, if you keep doing the same thing, you're likely going to stay stuck, because doing what's safe is doing something that keeps you stuck. And that definitely marries up with what you're talking about there. It's, you know,
Yes.
it's
Yeah,
our downfall. It feels safe. It
yes,
feels like, okay, I can
exactly.
handle this because I know this, it's familiar. But the truth is, it keeps us in the space that we don't want to be in. And then we, you know, indirectly start to participate in our own suffering, and we don't want to be doing that.
Exactly. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
agreed.
All right. Here's my final question for you. So, how does your business help women continue to grow and evolve in the way that supports their goals and overall well being?
So I strongly believe that once you have mastered this growth mindset and have become disciplined in your thinking and your doing, you become the most powerful you can be. So from that, you'll evolve and adapt whenever
Yeah.
necessary.
Yeah. I like that. The most powerful you can be. I mean, you are the only you get. So it would be nice to
Exactly.
see you,
Agreed.
you know, come to your greatest potential. And that too, I think, goes back to that formula thing. Because how can you come to a greatest potential if you're doing all the same things that keep you in a place that's less
Exactly.
than?
How can
Yeah.
you change your formula if you're not adding another element to it? Like,
Mm-hmm.
what are you expecting if you're not adding, which is the easiest version instead of
Yeah.
just deleting? Like, just add something new
Just
and you'll
add.
see different results.
Yeah, definitely. That is a big takeaway for me today because I've not in any of my coaching, I've not talked about that principle. And I do think that people come to this idea of mindset change. So, you know, we've talked that throughout today, but that idea of mindset change sometimes implies you're letting go of an old mindset. And this idea of let's not change anything as it is, like just stay where you are and add one thing. And that
Exactly.
actually creates the change. And eventually, I'm sure, you know, some of those other factors kind of lessen and atrophy just
Exactly.
naturally. Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
that's the ripple effect that I talk about. Like you see it as, but that like just one insignificant thing, like what is that going to do to my this huge life that I have and all these different problems or whatever it might be, that challenges that you have in front of you. But that just
Yeah.
one thing can actually create a ripple effect that it gets so comfortable to adding something new to your life, to doing maybe changing your diet. Now I want to go to the gym. I'm taking care of my body. I think I'm ready to make this decision. Like it's going to come like a ripple effect. And
Mm-hmm.
everything else in your life, it's going to be just getting better and better and better. And I can tell you, I've experienced that from someone that it was very difficult for me to be one of those disciplined step-by-step kind of individuals. But
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you, I can look back today and say, my goodness, like what was I thinking? Like really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes even looking back motivates me to keep on going.
Yeah.
So
Well, that might be
it's
your one
tough.
thing is just to look
Exactly.
and see, I don't want to do that. So I'm going to keep on this course here, adding new things
Yeah,
that are going to bring me to a better version of myself or the best version of myself.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And you know what? Just being part of that as a woman, the fact that you can be part of something like that on another individual's lives, it's just so fulfilling. It is
Yeah.
so fulfilling to see other people change, transform their lives to something way better. Like the fact that I was there and I was able to be somehow some part of that change. And I'm sure you can experience that, but it just feels
Oh, totally.
amazing. Amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, as I said earlier today, I really see how we're in alignment that way, that there's a service-based principle to what we're doing, that we really want to see women be the best versions of themselves, to empower
Exactly.
themselves and to step into the best life that they can have. And again, I think we also are in an alignment that that's not a destination. It's a process. It's a
Yes.
formula, to use your
Yes.
language, right? It's not one day I'll be there and then it's all done and I don't have to put any more work in. It's a matter of getting into that continual growth mindset where you're always curious, you're always looking for the next opportunity, and always growing and staying open to, hey, I thought this was the best version of me, but tomorrow I have, only way to go is up. Like, exactly. I think I'll add something and go there instead. Yeah, definitely.
Agreed.
Well, Susana, share with my listeners, where can they find you? Where should they be looking for you? What are things that you want my listeners to know about your business?
So just to let everyone know, I am the CEO and the visionary of a beauty and health company called Glute Boost. We provide non-invasive solutions for women's curve enhancement needs. Our website is gluteboost.com. You can find us on social media, mainly Instagram and Facebook. And if you want to learn more about me specifically and more of the corporate side of the business, then you can follow me on LinkedIn, Susana Campella.
All right. Thank you. And thank you for being here and just sharing your perspective on how even in your industry, there is this element of service and empowering women. Because I think ultimately, if we can get all women empowered, the sky's the limit. Like, I think that we are a group that we integrate, right? We work with one another. And so the more we can raise that bar, the more that lifts all of us in some way.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Mm-hmm. I am so grateful for this space, Dr. Natalie, and I am looking forward to, just meeting again. And it's very empowering and very fulfilling to know that you're actually not the only one that's pushing this drive for other women to feel empowered and to change their today, get a better tomorrow. And that is just other women doing the same thing. So this is amazing. This is wonderful.
It is amazing. Totally. I'm right there with you. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me. All right. So I'm adding a little addition here. It's the legal stuff. Just so you're aware, nothing in any of these podcasts constitutes actual psychotherapy. Yes, I am a licensed clinical psychologist in the state of Minnesota, but everything here is just educational in nature and is a suggestion of things that you could be doing in your own life to learn how to love the life that you're in instead of waiting for a life that you're dreaming of to come towards you. So just remember, this is not therapy. And if ever you need any resources for mental health, look in my notes and I'll always have a little blurb at the bottom where you can click on a link and get those services for yourself.